Welcome to a webcomic tutorial. I'm kind of teaching myself how to do tutorials, so please bear with me and feel free to provide any feedback or suggestions down in the comments below. So this is my little walkthrough on how I shade my webcomic Dazer and Eleanor. Kind of my goal for each stage of webcomic production is to make it as easy to repeat as possible, because then that makes your whole process more streamlined instead of like reinventing the wheel with every page. So this is supposed to be a very quick, simple, repeatable process. So we've got our page here, and then over here we've got our layers. I'm gonna select this layer here. This is my character flats. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna duplicate it. Okay, so now we've got a copy. And then what I'm gonna do is add a blank layer above that. Let's go ahead and call this shadows. Pretty straightforward so far. All right, and now I'm gonna use Control-click. I'm gonna click on the little icon on this layer to select the flats. And then on this blank layer labeled shadows, I'm gonna pick my shadow color, which is up here, swatch 73. It's just what, suits my taste. And I'm gonna fill this. Okay, so now we've got this lovely dark magenta. So now we're gonna change the shadows layer to multiply. And then I'm gonna also lower the opacity a little bit. I don't want it to be quite that dark. The next thing I'm gonna do is right click and merge down. So now our shadows and our character flats copy are one layer. Let's go ahead and relabel this shadows. So my goal is to have as few filters or effects as possible. I want just plain, straight on colors, no effects. Again, this is so that I have complete editing capabilities. I will go down here to the bottom of my layers panel and add a layer mask. So it adds this little white square here. And essentially the way layer masks work, the white means that it's revealing. And then if you change it to black, I'm just gonna fill the square black, it hides everything. So I have filled the whole mask black, and now what I can do is go in, I'm selecting white as my brush color, and I can just paint in the shadows. And because it's a mask, I don't have to go back and forth switching to different colors. I can just use the layer mask to reveal the shadow layer I've already created. How about that? And if I realize that I made a mistake, or I need to edit something, I'll just switch my colors, switch to black, like that. Switch back to white, and that is how I shade my comic. Actually, that's it. The cool thing about this also is you can use any kind of brush on a layer mask. So I can go here and select a soft brush for areas where I want them to have a more gradual shadow instead of a sharp shadow. I can kind of do this. And then let's say I switch back to my hard brush. And we can add in some little highlights here. And maybe here. So you can see how quickly this comes together and how easy it is to just repeat and keep your shadows and your shading technique consistent. This is pretty much what I'm going for. Okay. So there we go. We have a panel. This is kind of a rough version because I'm just doing it kind of quickly for the tutorial. But this is pretty much it. And fun fact, you can repeat this process for highlights. So I'm going to duplicate my character flats, add a blank layer, select the flat colors, and then let's fill it with yellow. This is pretty basic. Deselect, and we'll change this to, overlay. That's very glowy. We'll change it to soft light. Okay. So we've got our soft light here, and we're gonna lower the opacity just a bit. Doesn't need to be that intense. Okay. Merge down, layer mask. So I've got it's basically exactly the same thing, but with highlights instead of shadows. And I can go through here and reveal the parts of the layer mask where I want there to be highlights. And then if you want to, you can go to the shadow layer. I'm switching back to the layer mask on my shadow layer and add some reflected lights here, make it more shiny. That is how I shade my comic panels. Like I said, I'm trying to like get into the swing of making tutorials. I'm figuring out like how to use different kinds of software and stuff, how to record my screen. So if you guys have any feedback or suggestions for me, or topics that I can cover, things you would like to see, I would really like to focus on like the little tips and tricks I have for streamlining my webcomic production process. So hope this was helpful. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.